Morning, YouTubies. How's it going? I'm back. I hope. I know I've been on a hiatus, missing in action again. I'm sorry. It wasn't planned. I've gone down a rabbit hole, you might say. A self-discovery rabbit hole, you might say. Okay. When I came back last time, I was planning on, starting to do my videos again. I've got videos I got on my phone. I just need to start posting them. I've got a couple of them posted. I just got to schedule them to start being public. Well, anywho, that was the plan. But then I started... For a while now, I don't know how long, but for a while now, I've told people that I've been through some hells in my life, which I have. Lots. I started jotting things down and going down a rabbit hole and going down further and further. Oh yeah, I've been through some hells, all right. Way more than I thought. I haven't even talked to my therapist yet about this. I've been dealing with this the last couple months because this has been hard to emotionally to deal with. What happened was, just out of curiosity killed the cat. I started making a list of all the traumas I have been through in my life. Oh my God. I've been through some lot of stuff. At the moment, I have a list of like 140 things. And the list is still growing, of memories of traumatic things that have happened to me over my lifetime are still coming forward. For the longest time, I've not remembered most of my past. And now that I'm starting to actually work on, I've been working on things for a while because I've been going to therapy. But I've been learning about narcissism because of Dad and everything and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't really touched on myself until I started this. Wow. This is going to blow my therapist's mind. Some things are like major traumas, and there's some others that are like, well, more minor traumas, but they're still traumas. Sorry, my thoughts are just like jumbled. They're like a Roomba bumping into everything right now. Okay. So yeah, I started making this list. I won't go into all detail of everything because it's an extensive list. And some things I can't actually say because of YouTube will censor everything. But sexual assaults, verbal abuse, deaths, financial traumas, pet traumas, all kinds of, there's just, the list just goes on. It's been overwhelming. So that's why I've not been on. So, but I'm trying to get back into things now that I got some videos to post. Just gotta get my gear to do it. Just post them. I've been procrastinating on things because of doing this, I haven't felt like doing anything. I've just like lost all, kind of lost connection to reality, to be honest. And lost the motivation to do anything. Had no dopamine fixes lately, and all this kind of stuff. So I've had I made an actual list of everything I've been through, and then I presented it to ChatGPT to tell me exactly what each thing, what types of trauma were per thing. Let's see here, hang on there. I won't tell the whole thing, but because I might get myself in trouble from. Give me one second. Chat GPT was actually shocked that I gave such a long list, even, and such a detailed list. Give me one second to pause. Okay, I'm back. I'll read little snippets of what I got in here. I told ChatGPT I have no recollection of pre-trauma life. I've experienced trauma, abuse my entire life. I had it break it down. I broke down my list into sections. I had it. Part 1 is childhood and teen years, which was I put as 0 to 19 years old. Where's it at? Part 2 was young adulthood / pre-marriage, which is 20 to 27 years old. And then my part 3 is 28 to now. So, let me get back up here. A lot of neglect as a child. My parents didn't help me with any homework. They just let me roam free, even at ages 5 to 8 years old on the campgrounds that we lived at. And there was a lake there. I fell in once. Wonder I hadn't drowned. I actually fell in, and the boy that was with me, Royce, I was 5 years old, and he was 5 years old. He didn't help me at all get out of the water. And for all these years, I've been pissed at him for not helping me. But after I did this list, I realized that he was a child too, and he was probably scared and probably didn't know what to do. Froze. So I had to do a little forgiving there. Because, like I said, he was a child too. My parents just let me ride my pony everywhere with no supervision, without a saddle or anything. I could have gotten kicked. I could have fell off. My pony tried all the time to take me under a big limb and knock me off. His artery. Things like that. It was lack of affection. My entire life from my parents, when I was young, I got a little bit older, I started getting side hugs from Dad, but that's about it. But I never got hugs from Mom and Dad. I never got told bedtime stories. If I had a nightmare, I wasn't allowed to crawl in bed with Mom and Dad like a lot of kids. I was sent back to bed by myself to get back in bed on my own. Never tucked in. Never. I think I just said no bedtime stories. None of that stuff that normal kids usually have. Maybe not all, but a majority of them. My cousin throwing ticks at me, things like that. Funerals. I've been to funerals ever since I was an infant. Dad, I didn't know this until just recently, that I don't know if it affects all narcissists, but I know with Dad, and I found out with a lot of others, they like to go to funerals because they can dress up, look nice. They get compliments for, looking nice. They get compliments for being there for the deceased loved one. Get compliments for being there to support the family. All this kind of stuff. Dad even goes to funerals that he didn't even know the deceased person. Like, okay, just to get that supply, that narcissistic supply. So I got dragged to funerals early on, and it terrified me. I didn't, being real little and seeing everybody crying and bawling, and wailing, I didn't understand that. It terrified me because I didn't understand. And then also seeing the dead body in the casket, and if I knew the person, I didn't understand why they looked different than what they did when they were alive, which I didn't put the two and two together back then. They looked different because of the embalming fluid. Nobody explained any of this stuff to me. Not that I would even understand as a child. My little mind wouldn't understand most of all that. Whereas Anthony, he'd never been to a funeral until him and I got together. And he's only been to, I think one funeral, which actually my cousin Tony's funeral, where he actually seen the body. The other funerals, I guess you'd say, but not really funerals, memorial services he's been to, was his mom being cremated, and we had a memorial, what do you call it, celebration of life for her. Same with his Uncle Ralph. He passed away and was cremated, and we had a celebration of life. So that wasn't, his side of the family treats, how do you say it, addresses death a whole different way than my family ever did. My family go to funerals and wail and everything. So yeah, as a child, scary as. Let's see. Witness cruelty to animals. Dad killing Dalmatian puppies and baby kittens. So verbal abuse from Dad. Lots of verbal abuse. Called names all the time. Called fatty, dum-dum, dummy, stupid, retard. All those kind of things. The list just goes on and on. And then, let's see. Early adulthood, which is my 20 to 27. My dad enforced it. Got home late one night. It was past midnight. I was like 21. And all of a sudden he was mad because I got home past midnight and enforced a curfew. I never had a curfew. And all of a sudden he's enforcing a curfew because he's mad because I got home late. Because of it, he tried to kick me out. Like, hello? So, because I had such a hard time in school, I didn't get my, diploma with my class. I hated school so bad. ever since fourth grade. I had a horrible, very abusive teacher that would come around and thump us with heavy metal pins. Man, that hurt. Or her other form of punishment most of the time was if we did something wrong. Like one time I whispered next to the person next to me of what page we were on because I didn't hear the teacher or what page we were supposed to be on in the book we were in. I got in trouble. I had to sit on my knees for the entire day, even through recess. I think I got to have lunch, but I had to sit through recess. I was so terrified of that teacher. I was terrified to ask to go to the restroom. I was terrified to raise my hand and ask. I peed myself almost every day, which is embarrassing to you in a minute. I was terrified of her. And I don't understand why my mom, when doing the laundry, didn't smell my clothes. I was like, hello? They had a parent-principal conference one time because about this teacher. They talked about possibly moving me to a different class, but nothing was ever done. And so the abuse just continued. And from there, I just hated school. It just really affected me in a big way. I flunked pretty much every class. Well, I was supposed to graduate when I was 18. I didn't. But after I got out of school, they did have a program in the next town over where I could actually finish up my credits. So I was actually able to go and do that and get my diploma. Not a GED, I actually got my diploma. So, I went on a date once, and I think the guy may have drugged my drink. I'm not for sure, because I don't remember any of the details hardly at all of getting home or anything like that. I don't know. It's just so much. Oh, on this stuff, I put I told about the possible drugging, and so ChatGPT told me this type of abuse was sexual violence, assault, trauma, reflection, loss of memory, and body control breach, core safety, and trust boundaries. The failure to graduate with peers, delayed diploma, type, educational trauma, self-worth injury, reflection, public academic failure, reinforced internalized message of inadequacy learned in childhood. So it gave me a detailed on every single thing of what the abuse was and a reflection of what a summary of things. So it was kind of cool that it helped me with some of this. And then, let's see, married life. Well, adult. Living with an individual later revealed as a serial killer. I'll tell that story here soon. It's crazy. It says type, secondary trauma, existential shock, reflection, realization of proximity to lethal danger can produce delayed fear and disbelief. 911, global crisis anxiety, 911, world event. It says type, collective trauma, reflection, large-scale threat, echo personal helplessness. Oh, and it gave me every once in a while they give me grounding tips too, so that if I had an issue with all this, it gave me tips on how to, take a step back, breathe, calm myself. So, yeah, it's just, the list goes on, and it's still growing. But, what was I going to say? Oh, when I first made my list and gave it to ChatGPT, and it broke everything down into exactly what types. I thought it would be just one type of trauma per thing, but some of them had multiple types of trauma labeled to each thing. So it was very detailed. Then it gave a summary. When I read the 0 to 19 section, I physically got sick. It hit me all of a sudden that, whoa. When I was making this myself, it didn't affect me. It just like, okay, I've been through this and this and this and this and this. Well, then when it broke it down, it gave me, the detailed stuff. And it's like, whoa. I actually had to put the phone down for an entire night, go to sleep, make myself not look at the phone. Make myself not look at ChatGPT and everything. Because I wasn't expecting it to give me such detailed information. But I can actually present this to my therapist when I'm ready and slowly work on things. Because since I've started this, I've actually had memories that are starting to come forward. Some of them I don't. Some of them I want to put back, but can't. But at the same time, it's good that they're coming forward so I can actually start addressing them and heal from them. Because trauma and abuse is all I've ever known. So, but yeah, 140 already, and the list is growing. Some of them are like little things, but they're still, they affected me in a big way. And then some things, like, I want to say, I'm brain farting now, because this is just mind-boggling, to say the least. Exhausting, too. Some things okay. It broke things down into individual things. But some abuse things were ongoing. Say verbal abuse, like from dad. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It was a ongoing, for years thing. And then there's other things that maybe it just like, it happened once, but if was the collectively affected everything else too. Like my car getting stolen when I was in Texas, which actually that technically happened twice, but it. Breathe, Vicky, breathe. I've not been depressed lately. I've just been hiatus because overwhelmed because of all this. I know I've been through some hells, but damn. pardon my French. I was expecting to be like maybe, 2 handfuls of things. Not 140 plus. So yeah, and GPT was telling me that they're amazed at how resilient I've been through all this, to go through all the crap that I've been through and still be able to remain compassionate and empathetic and everything. It's the only way I know how to be, really. So anywho, that's why I've been MIA. So, but now that when coming to dialysis, anything's going, he's got to be here at 5 a.m. We got to get at 4:15 in the morning on those dialysis days. Oh my gosh, it's too early. We got to be here at 5 a.m. Well, once everybody goes in, most of the time I'm in here in the foyer by myself. So I should be able to start maybe doing videos in here where it's warm compared to out in the car, being it's winter, or starting to be winter. So that would be good. Because I really don't like freezing my booty. So, anywho, I want to scoot, start working on getting those other videos up on the channel so I can get them scheduled to be posted. Actually, in some ways, I'm excited about this because I'm remembering things that for so long, I've not remembered most of my life. It's like amnesia. And then now, little by little, I'm starting to remember things. I've told you guys before about how when I was 10 years old, I remember the entire house, but in my memory, my bedroom door is closed, and I can't get it open. For whatever reason, I've not been able to get it open in my memory to see what my room looked like. I don't remember what my room looked like or anything. So I'm wondering if something happened for me to not remember that. I don't know. Well, since I've started this, I am now starting to, in my memories, see a small crack in the door. It's not open yet where I can see anything, but in my memory, it's a little bit open. I'm curious to ask my therapist about either EMDR, I think it's EMDR therapy, or even hypnosis therapy. So, let's see if those would be options, as well as see her. I think she's CBT therapy. So, anywho, I'm going to scoot. I'm going to go ahead and start working on those videos. But yeah, I am kind of excited about seeing where this all takes me. I think I've tried to learn everything I can about narcissism, which I'm still learning about that. There's still so much to learn. But learning about all that, I think it was sort of my way. I needed to learn about that too. But I think in some ways it was a way for me to avoid dealing with my actual trying to remember things. It's like I wasn't ready. So, which when I first started learning about narcissism, I remember seeing a YouTuber, I don't remember what her channel name was. Every time I turn around, she was talking about narcissism, and I got so sick of it. I'm thinking, that doesn't apply to me. Why are you always talking about narcissism? Because she's a mukbanger, I think, at the beginning. And it just annoyed me. was like, that doesn't apply to me. Well, that was me avoiding the subject because I think subconsciously I knew that it did apply to me. So once I started learning, about narcissism and the snowball effect of learning about everything, I've learned so much now. So now I'm starting to learn about myself. So, anywho, I'm gonna scoot. I'll catch you guys again later. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. I'll probably be talking more about all this here and there more, because I always try to keep it real on our channel. So, but like I said, there's some things I can't actually say because YouTube will censor me. But I can word things in such a way that it's not as brassy. Let's put it that way. So, all right, I'm going to scoot. Bye-bye.